I'm trying to get my mic on. Sorry.
Uh,
I'm on the phone. It's kind of awkward. Um, I was this is on my mind. I might as well bring it up now. About being of service because I find myself doing things where just in the moment, I'm helping out with some situation or someone that has a problem, or like last night, the fire next door, and helping out my neighbors, whatever. And it's just a very moment to moment thing where I do what I can. I'm just, very calm and just communicating with people or taking some action or whatever. Um, and you know, it's wonderful. It's like life in action. When I use the word like being of service, like my non-dualist friends, as you know, like all these people I know are from the Francis circles, so they're like they think it's, or my friend in India, they joke that it's like it sounds religious or something, but to me, it's not at all. It's I don't know. I was just wondering how you see it, because to me, it's very much in the moment. It's not a doesn't have some big meaning. I mean, it's very meaningful, but it's meaningless, and it's just being called for whatever the moment needs.
yeah, yeah. There's one thing that's always going on, and then there's stuff that's going on. And the stuff that's going on, the representative of that is the life of the action figure. So there's being, and then in the manifestation, there's being of. Yeah. And one of the nice being of is of service. And many people, uh, because of a seemingly condition, they have to do service to get a sense of being available and present, because that availability and presence has been obscured by some claiming, some activity. Let's call it selfing. So then they get introduced to service. And when they're in the act of serving others, they forget themselves. As St. Francis says, it's in self-forgetting that we're reborn. Yeah. Now, St. Francis may not have been welcomed at a non-dual meeting, but fuck the non-dual meeting. So here's St. Francis. So that's,
No,
it's
I
a
mean that kind of
beginning.
self.
Let me
Yeah.
continue for a
Oh, okay.
second. So the being of service, to me, is another form of being. In where being takes form, one of the forms is being of service, and it can become a habit, because really the essence of being of service is being available, which you are, and being present, which you are. You're present and you're available, and that is the being of service. Yeah. Now, if situations or moments call you into that service, you're probably going to find yourself there without any thought of doing it or arriving there, or leaving somewhere else to be of service. It's just going to be a natural expression of the being in the of what? Yeah, in this case, of service. So yeah, I don't. When I came into
Makes
to
sense too.
non-duality, I want to share this story. Yeah. I was very psyched about the message, the novelty of it. It was like a tongue twister for the mental logic, and it was great. It couldn't really wrap itself around this idea that I am what I'm looking for. So I was moved by a guy I read a book from, Ramesh Balsekar, this book called Who Cares? And so I flew to India to go see him in Bombay. Didn't go with anybody, didn't know anybody, didn't call them up before I got there. I just showed up, went to where he lived. They met you downstairs before the satsang, and then you'd go up. Yeah. And there I was for a couple of weeks, and I had been traveling for quite a while when I got there to Bombay. Uh, I had and I had a very big bag with me because I'd been in winter, and this was now in January, and I'd gone through Europe, and I got to my guest house in India, in Bombay, and I assumed that when I wanted to leave to go down to Ramana Maharshi and, the cave in Tiruvannamalai, I would think they would see the nobility of my spiritual searching, and they would let me leave my bag at the hotel. But they did not want me to leave the bag there because space is very valuable in India. And so I was going to these non-duality meetings, and I was hinting about to hope that somebody would help me with this bag because I was going to go down in very shortly. And at the same time I was in Bombay, I went to AA meetings after the satsangs, at night. And I met, it was wonderful, really. And so there, because the advice I got from the non-dual people was just find a locker at the railroad station and stuff it in there and hope when you get back it's still there, And basically, satsang would be over and everyone would disperse. There would be nobody, just go off on their own little thing. And so I started talking about this dilemma at the AA meeting, and this older Indian guy came up to me and says, "Hey, I'll take your bag." He had like 25 years of sobriety. And I was pretty moved by that. And he says, where are you? And I told him, I said, "Hey, I'll bring it to you." He says, "No, I'll come and get it. I'll do it tomorrow. And when you come back 16 days later, see me that night. The next day I'll bring it back." Yeah. Or we'll transfer it. And I said, all right. So I go and I see Ramana and everything like that. And I come back and I go to the A meeting and he's there. And he says, "Oh, I'll see you." So he comes the next morning and brings it. And he had fixed it. He had sewed the bag, fixed the zipper, and dropped it off in a much better condition than when I left it. And then that night I went to the AA meeting and the people told me, he doesn't have a car. He took a bus over to your place to get the fucking thing and to bring it back. I mean, it was a whole thing. And here's I am hinting at the non-duality people. nobody offering any help. And then here's this guy. Yeah, because he was in the habit of being of service. Yes, yes. And sometimes absoluteness doesn't bring a tear to my eyes. Sometimes service of others does. Yeah. So as an expression, it's a much better movie, the action of service, than the absoluteness of who is there to serve and what is there to be served. Yes. So there you go. That's my take on it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
It sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's pretty simple.
it's very simple. Being of service is a natural posture.
Yeah. From the heart.
People are not in the natural posture of the obviousness of being here. Yeah. Where we're living from an idea that we cannot be here, therefore we cannot be available and we cannot be present. They don't have fucking any time to be of service because they're trying to get present and available. Yet, the way they're going to realize they're present and available right now is probably through service. And I remember in Toronto, I was giving a talk. There was a guy there and he was really jacked up and he had been up like watching 5 hours of non-duality videos, reading a book, and he talked to him and it was all up here in his head. And he came up to me during the break and I said, "I don't think you should stay here for the next session." And he's going, "Why? I really want to get this. I really want to get this." I said, "I think you should go to do some service. Go to a soup kitchen. Don't help someone you know, but go to strangers and do something. And I think it's going to be a lot better for you than reading all these books." Yeah, I did. And that was my sincere sense. Yeah. because the head sees everything. It's either this or that. And in sometimes when the head tries to capture non-duality, it's such an extreme this or that, yeah, that there's absolutely no paying attention to what's actually going on here because of the extreme mental ideation of the absolute. I don't see that. I see that as Pharisees. They know the letter of the law, but they're not in the spirit of the law. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my take. So,
Cool.
yeah. Have you ever run into people that they want to pause every time you say I, me, or something? It's sort of like you've been the non-duality game board, you've been booted off it, like, you know, a fucking Eiffel Tower on Monopoly that's bent, you know, you're just off. You can't be on the board because that's insane to me. It's insane. The last thing that there needs to be dogma about is non-duality. It's the most free-forming spacious nothing that it can do whatever or anything can happen in its space. Anything. Just like the sky holds so much shit happening, yet it's never affected by any of it. And that openness and availability of the sky is what is of service. It serves all this, the weather, it serves every fucking thing. It serves us to see the stars. It does tons of stuff without trying to do anything. So, yeah, yeah. All right. Do you see that it would be difficult to be of service if you believe you're not here? Like you're believing the head that says you're disconnected and you're not in the moment. Yeah. So you're not available and not present, seemingly. This is why we don't talk about you're present and available when you come into recovery. We talk about doing service because you're going to arrive at the sense of presence and availability, but not by you thinking about it. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. You arrive there by actually, in that sense, doing something. Yeah. Yeah. And it's worked. And then you get the flavor when you're in service. Usually you'll get a free sample of feeling bigger than you usually feel, which is a sense of presence, and then a real sense of being here, which is availability. Yeah. But you can think up the wazoo if the thought system is in the belief that you're not present and therefore you're not available. Thinking about that is not going to work. Yeah. In this sense, we've got to use, like the Course in Miracles says, we're going to dream ourselves out of the dream. In other words, we're going to use the dream to dream ourselves out of the dream. So you're going to take, whoa, wait on, this is a fucking heresy. You're going to take action. Yeah, as the action figure. And you're going to act in a sense, which is still dreaming. You're going to act yourself out of the dreaming. Yeah, because part of the dreaming is the event of action. Yes. So the dreaming is going to be used to dream yourself out of the dreaming. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I really feel like I mean after so-called service, then it's like you see like you're just part of the fabric. You're completely insignificant, yet you're important in that you played your part
Yes. Yes. And also,
without credit.
you're not in the realm of one. You're in the realm of two or three or four. You've entered we,
Yeah.
which is like It's like it's like a vacation from me and I. You enter the we. Yeah. But there are no we. I know. But you enter the we. Yeah. uh, yeah. What has an ever-changing condition? The body and the brain. Yeah. You don't have to worry about the condition. It's not ever changing. It's fundamentally always available at all times. What needs to be changed at times is the condition of the action figure. Yeah. Though it's a different denomination from the absolute, it still has some credit and some currency and some value here. Yeah. Yes. You can travel lighter or travel heavy. Yeah. So, all right. I think I'm done with that one. This means a lot to me because I see when I was introduced to non-duality, the first video, one of the first interview requests I took was from a group in Australia, Urban Guru Cafe. Now, I looked them up after I did the talk with them. A lady there was a guy, Gilbert, and another woman, I forget her name. She's the one that asked me to show up, and I did it. And then after I went to the site and I looked at other people and the commentary, and I could not believe how many people were getting disqualified by we or I or me or you. And it was like non-dual dueling in the commentary. I just couldn't freaking believe it. I said, Jesus Christ. Yeah, they're going to have a field day with me. Because I go from action figure to somewhere else, back to action figure somewhere else. I don't see a huge distinction in a lot of it all. I don't. But if you want to draw a deep line, great. Yeah. Usually what wants to draw the deep line isn't from the supposed non-duality side. There's no side to non-duality. It's the whole space. It's from the little myopic view. The myopic view, we have to have like a loyalty pledge and shit like that. Yes. So I don't know. That's where I see how I'm seeing it right now. Yeah, I am. I can't. Being right brings about you're gonna be wrong. It's if you like, if you think you're only gonna eat one side of the bread, you're gonna get the other side. You know what I mean? It's best to wear all the shit loosely. Right and wrong, correct or incorrect. Yes, it's just better. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I spoke with a lady yesterday, a day before. Very nice lady, I imagine. I don't know. Don't know her. I just talked with her. I like to assume that she'd be very nice. And so she was talking to me about some process or some thing she's involved with where, you start having some of self-awareness, and then there's a lot of things you can't do. Like, all right, you gotta let go of your preferences. Give me a fucking break. You know what I mean? You gotta stop judging, let go of your preferences. Don't expect anything so you won't be disappointed. And this is sort of like, this is why there's a real terrible distaste, and ignorance is bliss. Because when there becomes an awareness of self, then there's these, they throw it out just like casually, like stop thinking. Just like when people who are not alcoholics run into you and you're having a terrible time stopping, they go, just stop drinking. You know what I mean? I've stopped doing a lot of things. I just stopped. Yeah. And you're like, if I only could, I would have, like, fucking years ago. You know what I mean? So something that sounds so easy, but it's an impossibility. And especially what's hearing, you have to let go of your opinions, is that which is made up of opinions. The action figure, you know what I mean? It's like, taking 8 pounds of flesh off the body. It's impossible. So this is what I really believe and love about non-duality. This is not becoming self-aware and then having to have a whole new set of skillful means and toolkits to, lose preferences, not have thoughts. No, it's you hit that wall and you step another thing back and you see you're not that. You're not that which has preferences. You're not that which holds the opinion. Yes? So you can bypass. We were talking about it yesterday and I forgot about it. Ocean Beach here in San Francisco is open beach, open ocean beach. Sometimes great surfing. Sometimes really nice and easy. Sometimes the waves are behind like a wall that you have to get through of like whitewater. So if you're paddling, it could take a lot of work. You see the waves, they're very easy to catch. It's mellow, you're not going to get whacked, but there's like this wall you have to get through, to get to that wave. This is what happens when self hears a spiritual message. The spiritual message describes these beautiful waves in this calm sea, but first you got to get through this whole wall that you didn't even know was there. You got to stop having opinions. So and these, you see, and it puts you into a feeling of powerlessness, and you don't really want to feel that way. Oh, here's another test I'm already set up to fail. Yeah. Oh, just stop thinking. Oh, great. Show me, Yeah. So this is on having never left the shore. Yeah. Yeah. So when you don't leave the shore, you see the waves and you also see the wall. Yeah. The wall is now not an obstruction to the waves. How you were seeing it, trying to get to the waves, made the wall an obstruction. So the idea of judging and preferences and opinions were seen as a wall to get to those spiritual waves. When you see it from on having never left, you don't see it as a wall anymore, because you're not that which has the preferences. You're not that which has the opinions. You're not that which is being described to having to be let go of. You realize you're not that. So if you're not holding on, the spiritual demand is not letting go. It isn't. There's no spiritual demand. Yeah. When there's the opportunity, I'm always holding on to shit. Well, the spiritual thing is you got to let go. You got to let go. But it's always premised on the fact that you're holding on. If you're not that which is holding on, that's the weakening of the grip of what's really holding us. Yeah. Which is the constraint of the head, this selfing, and being determined by it, where every time there's an opportunity of joy and freedom, there's demands. Yes. There's more orders. You've got to become more purified. I thought I was purified enough. No, you were purified just to hear the invitation, but now they get the message you really have to be purified. Jesus Christ. It just goes on and on. Yeah. What does it feed? Does on having never left feed the surfer that has to go through that wall to get to the waves to have its glorious day? No, it doesn't. Because it's basically saying, surf or no surf, you haven't left. Yeah. If you go through the wall, you haven't left. If you get through the wall, you haven't left. Maybe you'll enjoy the waves, and you won't enjoy the waves if you don't go through. But if you're enjoying life, you may be able to enjoy other shit. Yeah, because you're satisfied and content because you're rooted in on having never left. You're not desirous and discontent or restless because you got to get through this wall to get to the waves. Yes. It's so, you can't, it's not like 1 and 1 is 2. To describe the activity of selfing isn't looking at a diagram of the activity of selfing. Yeah. Because you lose a sense and feltness of it. Yeah. You may not have a feeling. You would think if doing is arising right now, and then the doer arises right now, what's the big fucking deal? But when the doing right now gets claimed by the head and implies the doer, that the doer that it's implied is historical. You now have the weight of 800,000 doings that have been seemingly claimed weighing in on you at that one fucking moment. Yeah. You're not seeing one brick of the Empire State Building. You're seeing the whole fucking Empire State Building. This is the bondage of self. Yeah. It takes one brick and he makes a huge fucking wall. Yeah. Oh, if I felt like I was the doer of this, what's the big deal? But see, if you feel like you're the doer of this, you're going to feel like you've been the doer of all that. Yes, this is the dilemma. This places emphasis and weight. Yeah. What would be the crucial effect of an imaginary place which can only reach the level of appearance? Weight. Yeah. Heaviness, meaning. This is what gets piled on us. Mileage, yeah? I'm disconnected. How disconnected are you, Paul? Can you measure it in miles? Oh, I feel like I'm fucking halfway across the country away from this moment. Oh, okay. That should take about a day and a half. You'll spend about 120 bucks on gas. Better bring some sandwiches. Yes, all this stuff. It's made up. You're disconnected in the already, always connected. It's an imaginary effect. It's called a causeless effect in the Course in Miracles. You're feeling an effect that you believe is coming from being disconnected, and you're not disconnected. It's like the magician's falling for its own tricks. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And then someone can see its tricks and explain it to the magician, and he still won't see it. So here, this is the easier, softer way. You already know what I don't even care if you get to know it or not, really. So I'm not even going to say, I want you to know it, but you already know it. See? So the topic that we're inviting or talking about is already in place. It's the easiest thing to point at. Right. Yeah. You point at what you're not, and because what you are is what you are, there's no needing to point at what you are. You just point at what you're not. There's no need to point at what you are. It's fucking great. Yeah. And then you'll find out a lot. Yeah. The head will try to make mistakes. You'll see you're not the head. Yeah. But then you'll see that which was saying it saw the head wasn't you either. Yeah. And then there's a beautiful place where the dance continues, but there's no sequence. Yes. You can't see the footprints. It's just, yeah. Yeah, but you can hear the music and it moves you. Yes, it does. It really moves you. Yeah. But you got to hear the note and then respond. You can't react to the note before the note. Yeah. When someone says, are you prepared for the next moment? I hope not. I hope you're not prepared for the next moment, because that's being prepared for the next freaking moment. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. I have to have a drink. after this. Yeah, a long swig of an ice cold Berkey filter water.
Well, that was a good riff. I won't say you deserve it though.
I haven't been talking to you, Eric, for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Eric, you were like a touchstone, and then it goes off.
A catalyst.
Yes, yes. I hope people don't think so, because sometimes I go on for 15 minutes and they're sitting there like they're having a conversation with me. I've lost the phone's gone dead. I'm just yes. Thank you, Eric, so much. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, there's our friend Chris. Alameda Chris.
Are you ready for Dana?
I want to hear the story of Chris being an ex-gang member in the Alameda assholes. Yes. And then he found spirit in the temple of lost hair. And look at him. Yeah, there he is. The prodigal son of Alameda. Nice. What an adventure he's been on. All right. You know how much money it costs to burn all those tattoos off his arms, especially the one on the ass? Property of Alameda assholes. I saw him when he was putting on a Speedo in Italy last year at the retreat. Sorry. I wasn't looking at your ass. I just saw the tattoo.
You went off on a tangent.
All right. All right. Anyone?
Yeah, Dana.
Oh, is it Dana? Oh, no, we have, all right, Dana and we have Mike. Who was first?
Women first, always.
Women first. All right. Dana.
I have a couple questions. Would you suggest that it would be good to read that part of the Course in Miracles about dream and dreaming and that kind of thing? And
No.
would you, okay. And, oh shoot, I forgot my next question.
There you go.
That doesn't help me at all. I forgot. Another thing, I'm doing this thing with Kathleen. It's really fun. Who Cares by Rama S. Balsekar. I think you were talking about him. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying that a lot.
Great. Then stick with that. Don't move anywhere else for right now. Would be
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was the first book I read, I think, was Who Cares? On this topic, non-duality. Is it the one where he talks, yeah, I think he talks about the law of probability. So yeah, I like that a lot. His emphasis was on the personal doership, yes? So he would constantly bring the talks to that point, just to have you see that, you know, the nonchalant way we take ourselves to be the doer. If you would look at any moment and have to see how many parts have to coincide for anything to happen, you would be seen as one piece of a mass of activity, so to speak. Yes, not the doer. And it was funny when he gave he said this one time. I was there in Bombay, and it was the hardest thing to do, to have my head sit in my little guest room and try to look at the doership. And I've noticed from doing the talks for years, when people get the most, not the person, but the head gets the most upset is when you start talking about personal doership. Because if you're not the doer, then whose life is it anyway? Yeah. That's the whole, it needs this sense of being the doer to give some kind of credibility to the whole fucking outlandish story it keeps playing. Yes, it does. And so when you get to sort of like the inner hive of the Borg, so to speak, yeah, the things start occurring, because it's like a siren goes off. Danger, danger. Do not come near don't touch the sacred cow of the personal doership. I love when I see that, man. Usually you're not invited back. That's what used to happen. I would cross the line, I'd never be invited back again to that group. And I could feel it coming. And I said, I shouldn't say this, and I would just say it. Now, does my head feel like a doer? Yes. Am I the doer? No. Does am I the doer make my head get it? No. My head doesn't get it. My head, no matter how personal and alive it thinks it is, it lives as a mechanical activity. It's programmed, not artificial intelligence. It's not growing into any awareness. It just has a program. And one of the programs is, as Ramana broke it down so beautifully, and if you ever want something, a succinct answer to this idea, there's none better than this statement, my feeling. Not that I've gone over tons of statements. But when he was once again questioned about, is there free will, or is there predetermination, or is there predetermination or is there free will in predetermination? A tricky move. And he said this very clearly. He says, if there is a sense of individuality, yeah, there will be a sense of free will. You could say the same thing about the sense of being the doer. If there's a sense of individuality, there'll be a sense of being the doer. If there's a sense of individuality, there'll be a sense of being the seer. A sense of being the seer. Not being the seer, a sense of being the seer. Yeah? So what cooks up the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher is the sense of individuality. Is an individual putting off the sense of being an individuality? No. The sense of individuality is manufactured. Yeah. You have to be in the videodrome to fall for it. Yeah. This is what happens. It doesn't say individuality, it says a sense of individuality. So everyone, while there's an unknown, unsuspected sense of individuality that has established itself as us, we want to be keenly interested in debating free will and predetermination. Yet the only point these topics are hot topics is because there's a sense of individuality. And then he went even farther and he said, the only value these questions have is to point to the who's asking the question. That's the only real value they have, is who's asking the question. Because who's asking the question is the sense of individuality. Yeah. I think that's the most succinct negation. That's negation in a movement. Negation isn't an idea, it's a movement. It's a movement. You see what comes after to negate the imagined before. It's beautiful. Yeah? Yeah. All right. You kind of, that's like, that thing doesn't have to be polished, that little jewel. It's so freaking beautiful. What an answer. Incredible. Put to rest the mother and father of all the other things, which is the sense of individuality. Yeah. That's why the interest is in free will or predetermination. That's why the interest is in being the doer or not being the doer. It all comes from the sense of individuality. It's always looking for some fucking way to get an advantage or something or be right or whatever. It's just it's a desire that's like a slinky. Just this is for Mike Z, if he's still here. The original, to me, not original, but the base of the movement of the action figure, the mind and the action figure, is a desire to become and unbecome. Yeah. The head has a desire to become things that it believes or doesn't believe it's not, and to unbecome things it believes it is. Yeah. And it's like a slinky. One I don't want to be this, moves and I want to be this. Yes. It's like an engine, and the one movement propels the other opposite movement. So desire to become, desire to unbecome, desire to become, unbecome. I humbly feel, if you look at the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism, where it says there's a malaise or like a vague sense of dissatisfaction that we all fall under the spell of, seemingly. He called it suffering, a dukkha in that language, but it's not like we think suffering. It's malaise, vagueness of it. And it says, what's the cause of it? So he was being very clear. The cause of it was desire. Okay. Wouldn't you see, before all these other desires, wouldn't be the first set of desire would be the desire to become and unbecome? If you think you're something, you'd want to be another something or a non-something, wouldn't you? So the desire to become or unbecome is the first ripple in that fucking very, very chaotic surface. Yes? We're trying to ride that wave. There's a wave in Australia. I think they call it the slab. It doesn't break like a wave. It's like a giant wall of water. And it doesn't take a shape of a wave. The top makes a little wave inside, and it's almost impossible to stay on the board. So you're riding the thing, and then this big shelf of another wave comes out, and it get whacked. Yeah. It's called the slab. It's, if you like to see wipeouts, they're incredible wipeouts because you almost basically cannot ride it. Yeah. So this is like the desire to become and unbecome. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So what did it say? Find the source of it, whatever. And then he talked about anatta. Anatta is non-self. Yeah. Or you could say non-duality in a way. Yeah. Because self is a mixture of subject, object. Yeah. Doer, done to, seer, seen, hearer, hearing, heard. Yeah. Yeah. You know, AA has this incredible thing. It brought back breath and life, which is there is a solution. Yeah. Because the solutions for an addict and an alcoholic, you could not in your wildest dreams call them solutions. Putting people away, lobotomizing them, fucking tons of stuff. Yeah. But there was a solution. And this gave us freedom to look really at the problem. Yeah. If there wasn't a solution, it would be wise not to look at the problem. You'd want to distract yourself as best you can. Yeah. But in this case, we are the solution. Yeah, we are. Not that there is a solution. We are the solution. We are what we're looking for. What's looking is what we're looking for. The seeker is the sought. You can't use the solution to seek the solution. Yeah. You can't use mind to seek mind. You can't use Buddha to seek Buddha. Isn't there something in you that's the Buddha and mind and light? Isn't that what non-duality gives a voiceless voice to? Yes. And then the echo of that is negating everything else that comes after. not denying it, just negating it. The reality that it has lived as or lived with is somewhat extracted from, yeah? And now that which was unmanageable, you seem to travel lighter through it, yeah? Because the proportions of mountains and molehills and everything changes, yeah? And the compilation of observing it all, you can come to a conclusion you're traveling lighter, yes? And really, in a sense, here for this short period of time, what more do you want? Yes? I want to, one thing I just was reminded, I'm dedicating this satsang to a friend of mine, David Newman in Philadelphia. He's down in South Carolina. I've got word that he's passing away, and I just wanted to, because I know that echo that we are never passes away. So I'm just throwing some echo shine towards his big echo. Yeah, so David Newman, my hat is off to you. I had a whole lot of fun with him, and he's a joyous musician, and I just have a lot of respect for him. So I want to dedicate this moment on where I am to that. Yes. Yeah, he's in North Carolina. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Can I tell another story? We had a book out. I didn't do it. A guy did it, and he had already seemingly published it through Amazon. I had no idea that they could make books back then. And when I got the book, and he didn't want me to change much. So what we did is we had a guy that used to come to the meetings, a guy named Jim Cook, an older man, and he passed away. And so the first book, we did it in his memory. Yes, we wrote it. This is for Jim Cook, whatever. And so months and months go by. I get a call from a guy who comes to the talks, and he's a hair cutter. It was in alley, someone else. And he had this book, and he was cutting this lady's hair. And the lady asked him, "What are you reading? You know, can I look at that book?" And she looked at the book, and she saw the first page, and she was the wife of Jim Cook. And she saw that that book was dedicated to her deceased husband. She didn't have any idea of that. Isn't that fucking awesome? Yeah. You want to squish that kind of shit with the absoluteness of being right about something? Yeah, what a beautiful demonstration. She got pleasantly super surprised that, you know, some book she looked up, the author page was dedicated to her husband. Fantastic. So, yeah. All right. Anyone else? No? Okay.
It's Dana again.
Oh,
Um,
the second
my
question.
other question was the action figure. I'm not sure who the action figure is or what it means.
The action figure is when you look in a mirror, that's what you're seeing. When you look at a reflection in a store window, that's the action figure.
Okay.
Yes. This moving thing that with all these moving parts, sat atop by a giant mad hen called the brain. Seemingly. Yeah, that's what we're speaking of the action figure as.
Okay.
I've just seen, I'm having a vision, a sighting of a very exotic action figure, Lynn. A Lynn from Australia. She snuck into the Zoom she's in Alabama? No, I know not. Lisa's in Australia. Yeah.
That's right. Here we are.
Lynn. Yes. Aha.
Oh,
All right. All right. You got
Hey,
it,
Paul,
Dana?
I've got a
Okay.
question. Oops,
Oh,
I'm
you
sorry.
do. Well, we have, hold on. We have 80 also, but let's go with you. Yeah, first.
Go. You sure? Okay. So I heard a talk recently from somebody else, and they talked about something that you had said, and it was like a fan in a hallway, and it had something to do with shit. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And I know you know what it is. Can you tell the story?
A hallway of shitting fans.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's in the hall of it's like Zen Bitch Slap's Hall of Fame. Yeah, go in the entrance, go to the left, make another right, and you'll be at the door of the hallway of shitting fans. The hallway of shitting fans was basically it's not an active hallway until you open the door and enter. This is the strange thing about the hallway of shitting fans. When you're looking through the window, the fans aren't moving and you don't see any shit. But if you open the door and enter, suddenly the fans go on and the shit starts flying. Yeah. And so now people have been trying to be able to get through the hallway of shitting fans like a gauntlet. And people who are less scarred or less smelly than others looked exalted and, oh, wow. But basically, it's you. You're the one that triggers the hallway of shitting fans. So lose interest in you. The hallway of shitting fans won't get turned on. Yes. Instead of becoming a master of running the gauntlet, first of all, you won't even open the door. You fucking lost interest in all that.
Thank goodness. That must be why I'd never heard of it, because I've never been down that hallway anytime recently. Thank God.
There you go. Well, yeah, thank you for reminding me, because it's one of the golden oldies. I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a video of it also. Yes, we used the star of the video was Alameda Chris. We had Alameda Chris, and as soon as Alameda Chris opened the door, that some shit started flying and the fans went off. So we had, just to try to get it across to people, we made a little video. Yeah. That's why it was actually good for him not to have hair, because shit and hair is fucking hard. He could just slide off. So yeah. So that's the whole way of shitting fans. Thanks for reminding me. I'll have to go back. And all right, can we go to Addie now? Addie.
You want to say anything?
We'll come back to Lynn if she wants. All right, Addie.
Hey, Paul, you said the product of selfing and the one that is selfing, there's no boundaries.
Can you speak a little louder? I couldn't hear that. The one who's helping and the one who's helped.
The product of selfing and the one that is dreaming of this self. There's no boundaries. Like you said that, right?
Yes, no boundary.
And selfing is only off time. If there's no time, there's no selfing.
Yes, for sure. It's not of time. They're all a part of. There's not 4 different ingredients.
And selfing is a product of the head.
Yes, definitely. You weren't even in the dreaming. It wasn't. It hadn't turned on for a few years.
Yeah, I keep going back to that time, trying to.
Yes.
For that.
Well, yeah, it's not hard to go back to that time, except through time.
That was the most real experience anybody has. That's the most real experience anybody ever had. That time when there was no self.
Well, there was less interference for sure.
Yeah, no noise.
It was more direct contact. Now we're going through middlemen and middle women. And by the time we get to the deal, it's already been neutered or changed. Yeah. Yeah. See, if there's a giving up of the availability and presence, we're not knowing we're doing that, but by being obsessed with something else, it's an act of denial of that. Then you're open to be led by an interpretation, because how can you know any better? Yeah. Yeah. So this is what happens.
And
Now,
you were, sorry, go ahead.
well, the thing is, you would think when you're in the interpretation, then it's the interpretation has to go, but it doesn't have to go. There's tons of space for everything to appear. It's the emphasis that changes. So instead of, if you're only seeing things, then things have to go. But if you start seeing things in space and the space is emphasized, you don't have that opinion about things. You don't. It just doesn't come up. But when you're thinking things are the all important thing, then certain things got to get rid of those things. But when space is noticed, things are brought into proportion that are different when only things are noticed. Yes.
There's so much grief of of not being associated with it. Like it feels as if it's the only thing that is there because we're so used to it all the time, and there's a big grief in in calling out that it's not the me.
Well, there
I
can be, but
so
that
hard.
grief is going to uh, bring the opposite. Yes, it's going to bring relief. So in a way, dreaming oneself out of something in a dualistic manner, you go through one aspect of it, but you enjoy the other aspect of it, which is the relief or the joy that comes after grief. Yes, yeah. So this is the thing. A lot of people in our society want to take a pill. They don't want to go through any process. If they don't feel comfortable now, they do something to change it. But sometimes there's an admission you have to pay. You have to render unto Caesar's. So sometimes you get very uncomfortable, and that's it seems to have something to do with what shows up after. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I had that glimpse.
And that
But
what feels is that which is feeling is always going to be that other way is fought on the other way. It's never going to shout out to the other side. It's always going to be cheerleading for its side. Yeah.
that thing that you keep saying that it always wants to get out of it as it.
Yes.
It's so noticeable and frustrating.
Well, it will be noticeable and not frustrating soon.
Yeah. And that thing that you were saying about service, I know it's to everybody.
I lost a little bit there. My dog was serving us by protecting us from imaginary vandals. Come here.
Yeah. So the service thing that you were talking about
Yes.
earlier, the head can claim that as doing so fast.
Of course, the head can claim everything. That's why we're sharing that the head can claim everything.
I am
Don't
the big
try to
servant.
specialize. You're not going to find an exotic thing that the head's not going to claim. So you might as well do what you need to do and have the understanding that the head's going to claim what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
You've claimed it. You've said this in other sections, I believe. Being of service and doing service is so different.
Yes, for sure. But the thing is, not to the person that you're doing service to. So the
Yeah.
person who needs the sandwich is getting the sandwich when you're doing service or being of service. The feeling may be different where you are, but the sandwich is the same to him or her. Yeah. There's always two theaters going on at the same time. It's just not what's playing in your theater.
Right.
It's what's playing in the other theater. And the other theater, the person's super fucking hungry and doesn't care if you're selfish or not giving him that sandwich. He wants you to give him the sandwich. Yeah, I'm serious. So this is
And really,
yeah.
like, just 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 not trying too hard to do something as if we're gonna do out of it. It's the only way. You know, you gotta wait for it. Is it? You
Just
just
hear
wait.
what you hear at satsang, and it's going to get up to speed and run with the narrative, and you'll see the holes yourself. Yeah. And you'll see it's not you. You will. It's when it has you lagging or way in the future. Yeah. This is how it's Paul now. It was Paul and will be Paul. If you're right with it, which you are at all times, and see it, it's gonna be self-evident. It shows itself as not you. Yes.
Going
Yes.
back and forth in meaning and being, basically.
No, that's the head. The head says it's going back and forth.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
can you go? Tell me how you go back and forth.
With and without the head. With the head, I am being.
Always in this space. So back and forth doesn't leave any movement or meaning on the space. Yeah. All the movements of going somewhere from a something don't affect everywhere. Yeah. It's only in our tiny view that it seems to think it has a huge effect. Yeah. This is what happens. The camera keeps moving back and the aperture keeps moving, and you lose interest in all the things and you gain interest in the space of it all. Yeah. Yeah. I got to get going because everyone is getting hungry. They're all moving around, starting to make food and shit. Yeah. All right. But I appreciate the conversation. We can go on and on. Keep coming back, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right. Lisa and Lynn. It must be the Lynn's turn.
My turn
Yes.
with a question. Nice to see you.
Yes.
I wish you'd do them just if you did them at midnight, I might be able to pick you up easier.
I'll have to take that into consideration. Put it in the suggestion box.
Yes, that never gets
Right
open.
where the chat is, there should be a thing called suggestion box. Drop it in there.
And I know what will happen to it.
We could have one. We should have one midnight meetings,
Yeah.
one a month for sure, like the Rocky Horror Show.
Midnight.
Yeah, we'll have a
Well,
midnight.
you're here today. She's
Yeah, I'm
gonna.
here today.
She came straight home from work so she could see you today.
I came home early.
I talked her
Oh.
into it.
Lynn, you are definitely you sacrifice so much. Yes,
An
I
hour's pay.
tell you that a lot, but I try to stay humble. But you've sacrificed so much,
Absolutely.
and you've given to so many. It's amazing.
She does. She's been out in the bush today, picking weeds out of the bush to keep Australia original. I think it's beautiful.
Great. Yeah,
That's what she does.
yeah. Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for Australia and Australians.
Yeah.
So, yes, but don't push it, Lynn. Don't push it. It can change. So, yeah. All right. We're gonna go. Here's another. I'm gonna say goodbye to some of the Aussies here. There's Craig May. There's what?
Got a question.
Jerome. I thought we had a question from Jerome. All right, Jerome, come on in. Hold on. We got Jerome. I was just ready to get out. All right, they pulled me back in. Sounds like a movie I've seen before. All right, Jerome, what's going on? Can't hear you.
I think you probably forgot to send it. It has 1 million. So.
Yeah. Need volume. What? I think Mike has passed, Mike is transcended. I don't see him.
I'll save it for next time. He's saying that he's saving it for next.
Oh, yeah, good. Tell Jerome, yeah, come back. Yeah, hopefully we're not going to go anywhere for the next, at least by the end of this week, I should still be here. All right, I'm going to start saying goodbye. Mike Clark, as always. Yes. William S., nice to see you there. Craig May. Yes. Craig May, remember that closet doesn't need a library. Keep it a little empty. Yeah. Gary Clark. Nice to see you, Gary. Gary Placerville. Bill Churchman. Sherry. Maral. Alameda Chris. There he is. Anu. Kathleen. Terry. Camarillo. Alan O. James Olson. Wow, we got the Olson brothers. Jesus. That was a handful of trouble, eh? Yeah. Lisa and Lynn. Jesus, they're going to make a new Thelma and Louise. Thelma and Louise in Australia.
Excuse me.
It's going to be hard to find a Brad Pitt in Zen Bitch Slap, but we'll see. We'll have a casting call tomorrow. Yeah. Send me your ideas. Who could be Brad Pitt? David, nice to see you, my friend.
For sure.
Down under? What? Chris. Alameda Chris. Alameda Chris meets Thelma and Louise. Wow. All right. I think we got a script coming. We got honesty.
Honesty.
AKA Dana. It's honesty now. I like that. Susan H. What a pleasure, Susan H. Anu and Susan. Anu, nice to see you, as always. Oh, here's our friend Tej. Nice to see Tej. I know he hasn't been doing any spiritual shit. I know that for a fact.
That's true.
He may have taken up golf or something. I don't know.
How did you guess?
Oh, nice to see you, Tej.
Nice to see you.
Yep. Mike M. Nice to see you, Mike. Susanna. Wow. Well, your hair has gotten rather long, Susanna. Wow. There she is. She's letting it all hang out. What is letting it all hang down? Woohoo. Rob, Massachusetts. Mika in the Finland. Well, it should be late there also. Phone number, Adi. Let's see. I got to go to the next page. Miss Amelia, Christy, Floyd, Fletch. Fletch, give me a call tomorrow morning. Yes, if you want. Amelise, wow, beautiful name. Another phone number, Mike M, Rob in my Massachusetts. What happened? It went back to the other one. Hey, it's great to see everybody. Yes. Thanks a lot. We'll see some of you tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for all the support. Hey, if my friend Judith Kennedy or Brian Greger are listening to this, they sent me a lovely donation, but it's sent to Zen Bitch Slap. When I went to cash the check, they didn't believe my name was Zen Bitch Slap. And I told them my history was, my name was really Bitch Slap Stein, but when we moved to America, we dropped Stein. They didn't fall for it, so. Well, I'm going to send you a letter tomorrow informing you of it. But it was a very nice, thank you for the whatever. It demonstrated something, yeah. But I didn't even look at what it said, so I went to the bank. The guy was like looking weird behind the thing, and I was wondering, and he says, he pushes it over. I said, Zen bitch slap. You got me. My name isn't Paul Hedderman. Zen bitch slap. He slapped. All right. So I'll see everybody. Thank you.
Okay,
Paul.
thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul. Great.